Hello, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to Harping on Rugby, where with the help of some fellow fans, I get the chance to harp on what's going on with Leinster, Ireland, and the wider rugby world. First up, joining me is someone earning cap number 60. Welcome back to Mr. Tom Coleman.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me back. Good to see you. Good to see you, Kieran.
Indeed. And as our second guest, completing the same pairing that wrapped Leinster's win in Edinburgh a few weeks ago, we have the owner of the site Post to Post Sport, making pod appearance number 23 to go with a host of Harp and blog articles over the years. Hello again to Mr. Kieran Duffy.
Yeah, it's a big one for me today because it's my last pod appearance, harping on rugby contribution at all in my 20s. I turned 30 on Wednesday.
Well, elsewhere in the URC, it took a late penalty from Cahill Ford to give Connacht a win at Parky Scarlets, while Ulster fell heavily to the Bulls in Pretoria and Munster shut out the Ospreys in Cork. We'll be chatting more about the provinces in our bonus chat. Check that out on our YouTube channel during the week. There were also round 3 wins for the Stormers, Sharks, Lions, and Glasgow, all of which leaves Leinster as the only team with 15 points to top the URC table, although the Lions also have a maximum from their 2 matches. Of course, it's very early days yet. And this brings us to our final thoughts, starting with Tom.
Yeah, look, as you summed it up yourself, Jeff, we're 15 from 15, and I did say at the start of the season I'm just going to enjoy the games as they come, and it was great entertainment, especially in that first half. Some of the rugby, that's the reason we watch the sport and we follow Leinster. It's just seeing scores like that, the Frawley try, and the overall play. So look, it was a very good win. Treviso, or Benetton, when they get their act together, is a hard place to win. So to get 5 points there, that'll be a lot more than most teams get there, and that's what it's all about, trying to get up the ladder at the end of the season and get home knockouts and stuff like that. So fantastic win. I think a few positives, I think, as well. I think Fintan Gunn coming off the bench, he added that pace. He's playing himself into contention for a 23 spot, especially with Foley's down in South Africa, I think, isn't he? With Emerging Ireland, and Luke McGrath's performance against the Dragons wasn't great. So it's good to see form, not writing off Luke yet, of course, but it's good to see form getting rewarded, and I'd like to see Gunn on the bench against Munster again next week, to keep that style of play, because he did add an injection of pace, not for the last 10 minutes, in that to get that 5th try and just sort of, as Kieran said, just add a bit of gloss into the score. We weren't scoreless for the second half. I think another point to note is, maybe just to finish off the game, I think Van der Fleer had a great game. I think Kieran rightly pointed out, he made the break that got us up for that 5th try, but his work rate in the previous 2 rucks of 10 was just outstanding. The guy is an engine. Like this was in 79, whatever it was, 77 minutes, wet conditions in Italy. We'd won the game, and to be just hitting rucks and making breaks and doing passes to get just that drive that's just invaluable for So word for Josh, we do sort of take him for granted, but just that engine and work rate again, just to get us up that side of the pitch. But yeah, all in all, a fantastic win. Good to get RG off and on, by his own steam, and no doubt he'll feature next week as well. Yeah, all in all, good performance. You know what I mean? We've touched on what we see as issues, but just concentrating on the positives. It was a great win, and we've seen some great rugby, especially in the first 40.
Absolutely. And Kieran?
Yeah, I think 15 points for 3 games. I think you can't get much better than that. So I think these first 3 games have been more about getting players into form, playing yourselves into form. Obviously, we'll need to be better next week. There's no doubt about it. Crow Park, it's Leinster Munster. It's a different kind of game. Like it's a derby. It's the biggest provincial rivalry. It's the biggest rivalry in the URC probably. It's going to be a completely different game. There's no doubt Munster are going to be up for it. So we'll need to be better over 80 minutes. If we play like in the first half for the 80 minutes, that's great. If we play the second half for 80 minutes, it's going to be a very long day. Hope the game's a bit more entertaining in the second half. Was next week. So look, it's good to just get players get their minutes, and you can keep things ticking over on the table, picking up points. I really think if Leinster, I'll say it again, need to come into form probably after the Six Nations and the South Africa tour. I think it's crucial we pick up something from the South Africa tour this year. But if we're top of the league or in the top 2 anyway, come the end of the Six Nations, I think that's a really good position to be in. And then, you know, we can start coming into form after the Champions Cup. Hopefully there's a last 16 round for us. Hopefully there's a good run to the Champions Cup, and then you can start really playing good rugby. So sometimes these games are just about getting through them. I mean, no one's going to remember this one really. You'll remember the Kieran Frawley try, but no one's going to remember this game as like a classic. Probably not going to remember the Edinburgh, the Dragons one either. That's not the worst thing in the world. Sometimes you just need to keep things ticking over. So I think it was good to get minutes in the legs. RG Snyman came through his debut without any injuries. Bit of a concern over Kelleher and Jimmy O'Brien. Hopefully nothing too serious. But I think generally speaking, look, sometimes you have to say a win is a win and you move on. You take the positives, work on the negatives. I agree. Frawley has to start at 10 in big games. I mean, he's our best 10. I'd rather Frawley start to 10 in the big games, and for, don't want to say easier games, more winnable games you'd expect us to win. When Prendergast obviously is away with the Emerging Ireland, I'd like to see him start at 10 for those games to get him the minutes. Frawley on the bench, you can do your 6-2 split with Frawley on the bench. It gets us used to the 6-2 split. I think they have to be the two main options at 10. Ross Byrne and maybe Harry Byrne can keep things ticking over when needs be, but they're our outstanding fly half and our outstanding young fly half, so I think they need to be the options. So yeah, look, 35-5 scoreboard. It would have been a worse win if we hadn't got that score at the end, because at least, you know, you win the second half at least. Jeff, happy enough. I mean, with the first three results, not great performances, but there's plenty of time to start playing good rugby later in the season.
That's brilliant, lads. Many thanks again to Tom and Kieran for joining me, and I hope to have you on again soon. Thanks, lads.
Thanks, Jeff.
Jeff.